Hello, this is Tara McGinnis, and for costume class today you are going to make a simple sewing tool. You get to choose which kind of simple sewing tool, so this is stuck on a page where I've put a bunch of different other video tutorials and or links to pages where you can get some ideas. The idea is that now that you have learned basic hand sewing stitches, you can make a simple sewing tool that requires hand sewing stitches. So, the simplest of these, and the one that if you have no sewing tools you need, is a pincushion. Now, I know some of you will have bought one of the packages from 99-cent only store that already has a pincushion in it, in which case you don't really necessarily want a new pincushion. But if you have a pincushion, you could also do sewing stuff by taking some kind of a wristband or strap, if you have one, and sewing your pincushion to that strap, and thus making yourself a wrist pincushion. This is a handy thing to have. They're very useful. They also make magnet ones. But you can go and make one that attaches to your wrist. That's a fairly easy thing to do. You can also make a pincushion. You can also get kind of creative and make a little elastic thing, your own little doodad, and so on. That's what I did at some point. One of the best videos is one for making a little bitty, oh dear, I'm out of focus, a little bitty pincushion that is made with a piece of elastic and a soda bottle cap that you poke 2 holes into, and a little bit of like lint or stuffing, fiberfill, anything really can be stuffing in a pincushion. You can use sawdust. Sawdust is the usual thing in a pincushion. If you've ever seen one of these ones that has a little strawberry hanging off of the tomato, the strawberry is usually filled with sand. The sand is used so that you can take a needle that has gotten rusty in the damp and you can kind of run it through there and the sand sands off the rust. And so you can keep your needles sharp and clean. You can, besides sawdust, I use dryer lint. You can use fiberfill, you can use little bits of foam, you can use wadded up bits of fabric. Pretty much anything that's soft that you can pin into can be your filler. Some of you have kits. Now the kits have a milk bottle cap that I've pre-punched with a couple of holes. You're going to need a hole punch if you make either this one or this one and you don't use the cap that I've sent home with those of you that picked up sewing machines and grabbed kits. But truthfully, all you need is a little bit of fabric and a bottle cap and a little bit of elastic, or something, just ribbon to be a strap, something that you can go and attach that with, and you can make yourself a little pincushion. Other things you can do while you're at it, this is a fun thing. If you've got any of those mason jars that have the lid that comes off so that you can go and do canning, you can make one of those into an easy pincushion lid on a bottle that you keep your thread in. It's a popular thing to do. If you have a bunch of sewing equipment and you already have pins and you have pincushions and it's getting old, but you really love these things, there is a tutorial on how to go and make a wrist flower using ribbon. You'll have to go out and buy ribbon that you can go and attach these little clips to. There's a tutorial on how you take washers, big heavy washers that you buy for cheap at a hardware store, for people who don't like pins and don't like clips but they want to cut things out. They put these things as pattern weights on top of the pattern when they're cutting it out. If you've always wanted to go and have pattern weights, the cheapest way, go to a hardware store, get a bunch of the washers. And in some cases, the washers that are big are kind of thin, so you have to stick 2 of them together. There's a tutorial on how to do this with ribbon and so on. You wrap it in, you sew it together, or you glue it together like I did. But sew it together, because this is a sewing lesson, and make yourself some small bit of equipment. Now, again, if you have a bunch of experience or already have a lot of these things, go and find a tutorial online, something that you think is fun, that will make a cool doodad for your sewing room that you want, even if it's more complicated or not so complicated, but it's something that you can do as this project, and you take that and you turn that in as the wrist pincushion. So it's a wrist pincushion project that comes up, but the best video for the wrist pincushion is actually for the ring pincushion, and there's a bunch of other tutorials, and you have the whole internet to go from in order to go and choose something that you hand sew using your newly found or not so newly found hand sewing skills to make yourself some sort of tool that will make your life easier as you go sewing forth. So that's your assignment. Bye-bye.